We're up here in lovely Gadsden, Alabama, past Knockaloo Falls on Tabor Road, and I'm here with the Troups, and we've always wanted to do an interview like this with a generational interview, so this is our first chance, and I appreciate you guys letting us come in and sit in with you and ask you a few questions.
Thanks for having us.
I appreciate you guys, and we've had these two on before, but we've never had Kevin Troup on before, so now I'm going to let you guys introduce yourself one by one, starting right over here.
Hey, I'm Kevin Troup.
Brady Troup.
Haley Troup.
Okay, Kevin, it's an honor to finally get you on the show, actually.
Thank you.
It's my buddy. We've talked and known each other for years. Your dad couldn't make it today, so you know, we were definitely interested in his career and what got him into sports in general. Talk to us about your dad a little bit, because I know he's a huge influence on your life, and that's kind of tapered down, or passed down, excuse me, onto these two, obviously, from you. So talk about your dad a little bit in general.
Just growing up, he was always coaching. He was always doing something with sports, athletics. Had a huge influence on my life, and the older I get, I see the influence he's had on, probably hundreds of kids' lives now. That, you know, they always come up and approach him and tell him stories and say thank you. And he was coaching football. He always helped coach our basketball teams some when I was growing up through church league, and he was a huge inspiration, you know, on me, and always being with him. You know, when he was coaching teams and I was young, kind of like they were growing up when I was coaching, I was running around, you know, watching him watching him coach, and I don't know, I always loved it. It just drew to me, and I always looked up to him and respected him. And he was hard. He was a hard coach. He was old school, hard, but he was fair.
That's right.
From player 1 through 100. I mean, he treated the same coach the same, and he affected a lot of lives, and he definitely had a big input in mine.
Now he coached at the Mountain Ranch, for people who don't know, and had several teams that won championships, and I remember me specifically when we played against them in 90, 91, and then those years. You guys won at Gatlinburg and winning it all. Yeah. I remember that, and those teams were really special.
Yeah, they were. They played. I know one year they beat a team out of Girard, Louisiana, with the Rams. Actually, my wife's brother Kevin was quarterback for the Rams, that team, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was right before half, like 20 seconds. Pop had the ball, probably, I think, on his own 10. And it was like 4th and 12, and he faked a punt. And seriously, and went 90 yards and scored. And that team hadn't been beat in like 10 years out of Louisiana. Oh yeah. And they had big time money. They come in there with all these, buses and And we ended up beating them 7-6 at that one touchdown.
Off a fake
punt right before half, about 90 yards.
Jeez, man.
Yeah.
I remember he had, the days back then, he had like Jeff Gilbert and Horton was his running back. And, they were loaded back then. Yeah. But we had some wars, and I remember Billy Greer was our coach. Yeah. And I was going to ask your dad, specifically about some of the wars he had with Billy Greer.
Oh, yeah. He had a bunch of wars, yeah. Tyler and East Gadsden Tigers, Gadsden Saints.
As they come up.
He coached at General Forest Middle School in Alma Henson, too, football. Mm-hmm. And in those days, he would work third shift at the steel plant, get off work from the steel plant, go straight to school, teach all day, do football practice to 5 or 6, go eat supper, sleep 2 hours, 3 hours, go back to work. And he probably did that for years.
Man.
Doing both.
Golly.
Yeah.
Well, that takes some juice out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
And in the early days, like you said, you was walking around the practice field and seeing what your dad was doing and how he was coaching and how he ran his practices. Talk about how that kind of influenced you once you started, after your playing career and once you started coaching yourself.
Yeah, I don't know, I just, from the time I can remember, I like competition. It wasn't I never really worried about winning or losing. I love playing sports, and I love competition. And then, he was a real intense, competitive coach, and his practices were full of competition and real competitive, real organized, structured, no standing. And it just, I don't know, it just stayed with me. I guess, subconsciously it just stayed with me without me realizing it was happening. And then as I got older, I would drive anywhere. He would carry me and drop me off. I played in that Quest for Excellence League at Martin Luther King Center. We used to go down to Carver and play all the time. We'd find a rec center, North Gaston.
Atala.
Yeah, Tyler. We'd find a rec center and go play. And a lot of times, we're 15, 16 playing against 25, 26-year-old guys.
No, I remember.
You learn real quick, kind of where you're at, self-check yourself, what you need to do.
Yeah.
But I liked that. It didn't bother me losing at the time or nothing, because I enjoyed playing. I wanted to play, and I liked competition. I liked going against people and being an underdog.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
In your playing days, you played under George Baker at Sansom in basketball specifically.
Yes.
Talk about Coach Baker and what he's meant to you in your life.
Oh, man, Coach Baker was wonderful. I remember, I think my freshman year, he pulled me up at like Christmas break to the varsity from the JV, and then I played on varsity the rest of that year, my 9th grade year, and started. And just the discipline that Coach Baker had, and things nowadays you don't see a lot with coaches. Is Coach Baker was so good at identifying roles. You're going to be our defender. You penetrate, set the team up. You better shoot the ball 10 foot and in, or you're coming out. We're going to screen for him. Everybody knew their role, which made us a team. Mm-hmm. And you started if you did your role for him. And same as I was talking about my dad, very firm but very fair. And you knew where you stood. Communication was there. Coached effort, cared about us on and off the court. Was wonderful to me, and it was a pleasure coming back, getting to coach with him and being with him when he retired.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of that, man.
Oh yeah. And the first time I ever met you was after a UAB game, and you were with Gene Bartow.
Yeah.
And I was with Freddie that day, and I met you. And Gene Bartow, obviously, people don't know, actually took over for John Wooden at UCLA when he left. Yeah. A lot of people don't know that, but he did. And talk about your experiences there at UAB and what you learned under being a graduate assistant there at UAB under Bartow.
With Coach Bartow, me catching him the last 2 years of his career, he was kind of like, I don't know, kind of like everybody's grandfather, real caring, real thoughtful, but didn't play. Didn't play. Rule was rule, morals were morals, and you acted a certain way and you represented the university a certain way, or you'd be held accountable. But just his thoughtfulness at that level, when I came in and I always asking about my mom and dad and asking how I was doing, I'll never forget, we were at practice, and I would practice with them. I would do with the point guards, there was 3 of them. And I would do the drills and stuff and help with film, and then I would practice with them. I just came from Athens. And scout team, running plays and stuff, because we were up there in the office doing all the scout report on who we were playing, so kind of knew the plays from writing them down so much. Mm-hmm. And he come up to me and he said, go home and take you a shower and put your coat and tie on. He said, meet me back here at the gym in an hour. And I said, okay, Coach. He said, I want you to drive me somewhere. I said, all right. So I went home to the apartment and took a shower and came back and met him, and I'll never forget, he had an Infinity, and he tossed me the keys. He said, you think you know your way to Gaston? I said, yes, sir. He said, carry me to Gaston. He said, I got to speak at that, what was it they always did, the big event? Was it Touchdown Club? Or
where was it held at?
I think it was at Country Club.
They did do a Touchdown Club there before.
Big sports banquet stuff,
right.
And so I drove him down there, and we went through and picked up Dr. Baum, and because Dr. Baum played for Coach Bartow in the Pan Am games, and that's how their connection came. And so we went and dropped him off, and I remember I was standing in the back of the room, and he went in and talked, and was sitting up at the head table, and he was the speaker, and he stood up, and he called me up there, and I thought, we're going to get him something. And he said, sit down. So I got to sit at the head table and hear him compliment me at UAB, and I'm just a graduate assistant doing, grunt work for him. Awesome. And the whole time I was thinking, man, you're a legend, and you're being that thoughtful.
Yeah.
And that always stuck with me. Treat people like you want to be treated. Coach people like you want to be coached. And
that had to be special here in your hometown too.
It was very special. Got to see a lot of people. But he was 52-8 talking about what you said after John Wooden at UCLA. Mm-hmm. He went 52-8 2 years, back-to-back Final Fours. Threw bricks through his window, had for sale signs in his yard. Yeah, he used to tell that story.
Man, so when you hear those war stories and stuff like that, when you're growing up, I know I always would just yeah, a lot of that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean?
No, yeah, it was true. He, especially back then, you know, the generations, they feared for his safety.
Right.
And his family.
No doubt. I mean, probably one of the greatest successful coaches in any sport on any level. You're following them, and what do they expect you to do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know, just to have the guts to take it on.
And I mean, and you actually crossed paths like Andy Kennedy and
oh yeah,
you know, even Robbie Coker at times back then. So
yeah, good friends with Robbie, and a friend of mine, Hunter Crumpton, coaches at Gadsden City. He just texted me about 2 weeks ago. He was down in Auburn watching a basketball game, and Andy was doing the SEC network, doing the commentating, and he had sent me a picture and said, Andy said, tell me hey, and he'd followed my kids and kept up with them. And
that's good.
I told Hunter, tell him hey.
That's good. He's a great coach. We interviewed Coker before. We talked about Kennedy inside and out and how he ran practice is unbelievable.
Yeah, Coach Bartow had a big impact on his life.
Let me ask you two guys something here. When y'all hear war stories that your dad says about your granddad or stuff, what do y'all think about those?
When I was younger, I didn't necessarily, I didn't really believe them, but when I started playing for my papa and I started playing for my dad and I seen the structure and I seen how practice was going to go, I believed it real quick, for sure.
It's a real deal.
Yeah.
Same question to you. I'm sure you've caught some of it too before.
Oh yeah. Well, my granddad actually, before my dad coached me, growing up, my granddad coached one of my city league teams, and I think it was 10 and under, and I played in the boys league. So me and one of my other friends, Brooke Burns.
You were playing 12 and under boys.
Yeah, 12 and under boys. We played in the boys league here in town, and
awesome.
My granddad was the coach, and I'd never been coached by him before, but I came home and I was like, what did you sign me up for? But it was good. I mean, he's hard, and I still have some of the guys come up to me today and ask how my granddad is, and I'm really glad I got to play for him, play with you, and so it's just special to see the impact he has on people.
You specifically, growing up being older than Brady, you probably remember some of the earlier days, with your dad, linking over to your granddad. Talk about what that was like growing up for you, seeing, your dad. Yeah, he may be hard, but you knew at the time you didn't know what was going on. But now, talk about what it means to you now, being able to be coached like that when you were younger.
Yeah, I think, growing up, I was basically in a gym 4 days after I was born.
That's awesome.
So I was asleep in the bleachers, but just growing up, I would always go to practice with him, always be around the guys. I was in the huddles during the games, and I saw that intense side, the side that's a little bit crazy, and I was like, what the heck? But then I also got to see the side at home where he's completely different. Mm-hmm. So it really is separate, and I think growing up I did go through a stage where I was okay, I don't want to be coached by my dad. This is horrible. I don't want to listen to anything he says. But then I think I had to just remember he is my dad first and my coach second. And
absolutely.
I think after I realized that, it was a lot easier and a lot I could kind of take the criticism and know that it came out of love.
Absolutely. And for you, Brady, when you seen your sister going through it, then you knew it was coming for you.
Oh, yeah.
Did you feel pressure then, or do you even feel pressure now about having to, when you say troop in this town, there's a certain standard, that expect, which, these guys expect, and I'm sure you're feeling maybe the pressure off that, or do you actually indulge in that? Does it actually make
I actually like it. I like when people, I want to make my own journey, and each and every one of us, they took their own path, and I want to make my name respected. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So that's my goal. That's why, that's why I do. That's why I do what I do. That's why I work hard, and hopefully have the same respect as these two have one day.
And you actually have been the quarterback now, and you've been playing quarterback on the varsity level for 3 years now, correct? Majority of the snaps at Etowah. That's something that, Kevin, you didn't play quarterback, did you?
I did some,
play quarterback.
yeah.
Okay.
I did some for Coach Gross. I was a quarterback defensive back, punt, and return punt.
Okay.
And but when I quarterbacked for Coach Gross, we ran split back veer.
That's totally different than what Brady's doing.
Yeah, it was options down here at Troups, and
Right.
had Oscar Malone as the pitch man. So defensively, everybody was flying by me tackling the pitch man.
Going to the pitch man.
I'm sitting there, I'm having running.
That was what I was about to ask is, growing up in the situation you have where you've had coaches around you all the time, has that helped you in your progressions as a quarterback, having to be the leader on the team now? Kind of like a field general on the field.
Right. I think so. I think it's helped me a lot. I mean, I kind of take that role, being the field general, being a leader. I take it to heart, and that's why I do it. I love the competition. I love being the underdog, and I like being doubted.
Absolutely. That definitely drives people.
For sure.
That has, they can be motivated if somebody doubts you. Absolutely. And Haley, talk about your rivalry with Brady growing up. Let's hear about this a little bit. I always get asked that 100 times. Honestly, every time they've seen your interviews, they always say, "Well, man, why didn't you ask him?" I don't like getting into the.
Right.
But now we're talking about it.
It's pretty intense.
Have you ever had to separate them, Kevin?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they got a certain age they couldn't play one-on-one. They're outside on a basketball court,
Fist fight.
diving on the court, drawing charges on asphalt.
I'll say
awesome.
it didn't get bad because like when Brady was really young, like I'm 4 years older, so when Brady was really young, I just would just like mess with him and just like dominate him because I could. But then he started getting like middle school and he got a little bit bigger, and I was like, okay, like this is a little bit of competition. And I'll never forget the first time he beat me in one-on-one. I think it was like 3 or 4 years ago, and I was like, but I couldn't leave the gym without beating him last. So we stayed in the gym for hours until I beat him.
Did we talk trash?
Oh god.
Oh, they talk trash.
After that game, did he talk trash?
Yeah.
Was it
But
bad?
The worst memory, like the worst one I'll never forget was we had a basketball court at our old house, like a full court, and we were playing. It was like 2-on-2 with some friends.
Yeah.
And it was like game point or something, and I like scored on him, and I said something. I'm sure it was something smart. And I turned around, and all I saw was a ball coming in my face. Busted my nose, like I'm laying on the ground, like my nose bleeding.
I'm competitive, man. I don't
Brady
like to lose.
literally like threw the basketball in my face.
I hate losing more than I like winning. Like,
Yeah,
for real.
Same here.
So it's,
Most of the great players that we've interviewed
here.
is said those exact words.
Especially my sister.
And it's deeper than that, though. I mean, when they were young, I don't even know if they remember 10 and 6, 12 and 8. You can forget Monopoly with the family and maybe not.
It's over.
Yeah, you can forget Uno. I mean, trash talking, shoving, door slamming. So, nothing where it's competition at all.
When we were younger, it was really bad, but as we got older, I felt like it's kind of
Yeah.
chilled out.
it's
They
When we were
actually-
younger, I think we really like hated each other.
we fought, yeah.
Yeah, but as we
On
got
the court.
On
yeah.
the court.
Like, yeah, in between the lines.
But as we've gotten older, I think we've kind of matured a little bit, and we've gotten a lot closer. Like,
Yeah.
They go at it now, but like since she's been home, they go at it. But then like, they'll work on certain stuff and tell each other tendencies they pick up. They're actually helping each other a lot,
right.
Absolutely.
which is good.
Now, did you guys ever sit down with Kevin and watch film when he had to watch film? Did y'all learn those habits back then?
I used to, because he would sit in the living room. I remember like the old like DVD and VCR players, and he would just sit there for hours and like rewind and fast forward and write stuff down. So I would just sit in there and like watch and like see what he was writing down. And I remember I used to have a pad too.
Yeah.
Like I was really young, but I would have a pad too,
Yeah.
like acting like I knew what was going on, writing
yeah.
stuff down.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
When she was on the bench, like when I was coaching at Sanson, basically is what she did. She kept my board.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
So
too.
yeah, so during timeouts they would give me the board. And a lot of times, man, it's the heat of the moment, and I'll get my board last time out down 1:30 seconds, and I find myself just staring at whatever the X and O's is that one of them was down there drawing up. and I kind of go into dad mode, and I'm saying, what is she trying to? Oh, and I had to erase it. But I was thinking. Hey,
She's seen something. I'm gonna tell you a funny story about Brady, and I don't know if you remember this. It was the church out in North Glencoe. Y'all used to play. You remember that? I remember walking in the gym. My son was playing against Brady, and golly, this dude was dribbling with his left hand and shooting left-hand layups on the left side, and he dribbling with his right hand. He was crossing over, and there's like an 8 or 9 year old maybe, something like that. And I was like, who in the world's kid is this? Jeez, I remember my son's uncle on his mother's side. He leaned over and was like, dude, this dude's a ringer. Where'd they get this guy from? And then after the game, I don't know how many points he had that game, and they were playing on 10-foot goals too, if I remember. No, I think they were. I know it was about maybe 10 years old. I can't remember. Maybe y'all know that a little bit better. But after the game, I seen you go and put your arm out. I was like, okay, that makes sense. I ain't kidding, man. My son's uncle on his mother's side was like, dude, they went out and got a ringer, man. This is bull crap.
Yeah, they used to be halftime entertainment. Haley would go out and shoot at Sansom at halftime. She was the same way, 5, 6 year old. I would hear, I'd come out after the game that she would steal the show at halftime, make 10 in a row. And then at Southside, Brady would go out there at halftime and the same, like everybody would
Shoot the half-court shots.
Oh, yeah.
get caught up watching them shoot and stuff and entertainment. And they didn't even realize it.
Hey, let me ask y'all this on the same note. I want all of you guys to answer this. Start with you. When these two play, does your nerves go up? Do you get nervous, like pregame jitters, when these two play in a big game?
Kind of, but it's a different kind of
Than when you play
pregame jitters, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, pregame jitters, when I was coaching, was, are we prepared? Do we have plan B? Is the scout report there? Is everybody on the same page? You know, expect the unexpected. You know, when they're playing, Hayes in the barn.
Right.
No adjusting, no timeouts. You know, no halftime. So it's a different kind of nervous. More like, you know, telepathically wanting to, okay, you see what they're doing, you know what you need to do, and waiting on them to IQ-wise pick up things they need to do that night for what's going on in the game.
Do you find yourself coaching from the stands?
Don't lie.
Like coaching.
I mean, just like, do you find yourself
it's not
talking?
bad.
It's not.
I'm
like,
not saying screaming at the court.
Oh,
No,
no,
it's
no,
just
no.
like
No.
it's just like certain, like I remember in high school I'd run by and he'd be like, hold your hands higher.
Little adjustment.
Yeah, just like little
Tips.
bitty like.
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
Same thing. So if she's got a big game, do you get nervous?
Oh yeah.
You do.
I'm not. Yeah, when we used to travel all over her AAU team, and we'd be in Raleigh, North Carolina, you know, Orlando, and they'd play these teams that I mean they could play. You know, good teams. They got people from everywhere, and you know, really good players. And I would always get nervous. I would tell Dad all the time, I hope she's ready. You know, I hope she plays good. And I do get nervous for it.
Same thing. Like saying a big game like the Kansas City game last year. Was you?
I was I remember I kept calling. I was like, is it on TV? Is it like on the radio? And they're like, yeah, turn on the radio. And I was like sitting in my bed like sweating the whole time. And my friends were like, what are you doing? And I'm like, shut up and close the door.
You wouldn't understand.
No, so yeah, I get super nervous when he plays.
Now let me ask you something about this, Kevin. This is something I like to ask a lot of coaches. Let's ask about your wife specifically.
Yes.
And obviously you guys' mother. It takes a special woman to be a
Man, you have no
coach's
idea.
wife.
You have no idea.
Talk about her role in this family and what she's meant to growing up with these two right here, and then being a wife to you and supported for all three of you guys.
I mean, Holly's the backbone of the family. It starts and ends with her. I mean, the support she gives and the hours I'm away from home, at least first 18 years, you know, I did football, basketball, golf, whatever was gone, sports overlap, summers, and just keeping a home, you know, traveling and supporting me and helping me at the gym countless hours, and then make sure the kids have their homework, they got where they need to be, you know. You can't even put it into words. And then probably the last 7-8 years I was a head basketball coach. She always kept a book for me. You know, as the kids got older and she got to come around more and not taking care of them as much and carrying them to places, she got to get more involved, you know, with our program and helping, you know, fundraisers and raising money and being the team mom.
That's good.
Keeping the book, but unbelievable. The many hats she wears and the support that she's given all of us.
Yeah, and each one of you guys, we'll start right here. Haley, talk about what she's meant to you, like growing up and
Yeah.
supporting you and everything like that.
Yeah, she was always the one, like, he would be at the gym, he would be at school. So she was always the one that would get me to practice, pick me up from practice, get me from school to practice. Or, like, when I was on varsity at Southside, I remember every day she would have to come get me from Rainbow Middle and take me to Southside, like, for practice. And that was every single day for a whole year. And so, she traveled all across the country. I mean, he did too, but it's just, she's always been there, always make sure we have everything we need. She just means a lot to me.
Same question to you, Brady.
Yeah, I'm a mama's boy. I'm good to say that. Me
Is that
and
true
Mom-
story?
Yeah. When they were little, she was a daddy's girl and he was a mama's boy.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, she's awesome. I think with all the running around, from gym to gym, stadium to stadium, games, practices, I think Mom just kind of keeps us grounded a little bit, just reminds us to, breathe, like,
It's just
just
a
slow
game.
down, like, quit running and ripping, just take a break.
Yeah.
And, but no, she's awesome. She knows where everything is. I really don't know what we'd do without her.
And there's nothing she can't do.
Yeah.
Holly can do it all.
She's a worker,
sew,
too.
She
She-
cook, unbelievable cook. She's no sports.
Hard
You're not going out and work her in the
Hard
yard.
worker, very
I'm talking
selfless.
about just
She lay down the law sometimes too.
oh yeah. Oh yeah, everybody thought, growing up my temper.
Is it bad?
It
It can get there.
She could
It
go
can get
there.
there.
Yeah,
It can get
she
there,
can go
for
there.
Something that Coach Horn said to us kind of reminds me of you guys. Coach Horn, in an interview we did with him, he said, I wish I could have been there a little bit more when they was growing up, but he said, thank God I had a family and kids that were so involved in sports. So therefore I did get to be involved with them because they came to practices and they were with me all the time, whether it be ball boy or helping us with, whatever growing up. But I think that applies here as well. You guys have been around the sports and in the coaching, and I think that's helped.
It takes a village, Me and Holly having split up, I can't tell you the countless hours. Holly's parents, me and Papa Copeland, and then my mom and dad. We may be in Scottsboro at a baseball tournament, and one of them have her in New Orleans for 3 days at AAU tournament, Orlando.
Absolutely.
And then she may have a play date somewhere in Birmingham, and then when I was still coaching, I had a play date at Birmingham Southern.
Absolutely.
So just dividing up and the support from Holly's parents and my parents, neither one of them be sitting here today without them either.
Like you said, it takes
It takes a village, man.
Absolutely. All right, guys, I'm going to ask you guys a couple more things, then we'll be able to shut it down and let you guys get on about your night. I'm going to start with you, Kev. Talk about, just in general, what you think about your dad. Something you want to tell the camera that your dad meant to you growing up. And then when you get done with that, I want you to say something about these two.
Just the main thing with my dad was, always doing the right thing, being accountable, doing your job the best you can, and always telling the truth. He's to this day big on that. People might think that he lacks tact or politics, but you can throw that out the door. He's going to tell you the truth, and you can listen and learn from it, or you can roll your eyes and you'll find out months later it's continuing to happen. Mm-hmm. And there's no other way around it. And he just meant the world to me on that. The small things in life, and being a man's man, and doing what you're supposed to do, and looking people in the eye, and working hard, and respect your opponent. Treat others the way you want to be treated.
Absolutely.
And always being fair and honest. That's always carried over to me to the point that's big points I always tried to reach to them growing up. And Dad was always, it's easy. Just do the right thing. Don't do what's easy. Don't do what everybody wants you to do. Don't do the political thing. Just do the right thing.
Absolutely.
And let the consequences be what they are.
I love
And
it.
that's kind of the way I grew up with it and tried to pass it on.
Absolutely. And talk about your daughter right here. Tell me, what do you most admire about her?
Just her heart. Now as I sit here as a father and watching her grow, she's 21 now, being a young woman, and balancing school just a hectic, rigorous SEC schedule and life and demands and time on her. And to still, like we talked about Coach Bartow, to come back or be on the phone checking on me and her mom or her brother and be humble and on the phone being like, oh, everything's fine here. I didn't call, to talk about me. I was just checking on y'all. How's everybody doing? And to still be that thoughtful and humble, not forget where she came from. I admire that a lot.
That's
to be
awesome.
able to have that balance of, being a good person, but then just trying to be a warrior between the lines.
Mm-hmm.
But never forget
Being so successful.
what got you there, and to continue to do it, and never get too big or too small. To keep that balance.
Absolutely.
And I like that about her, balancing, being on that spotlight and that stage, but also coming back, checking and staying humble and giving back to the community, helping me with camps and helping little girls and wanting to train them. And I like that a lot in her.
That is awesome. And now Brady.
Brady, man, he's everything. Me and his mom have such a bond that's just not ever spoken because, he was born 2 months premature. So I go all the way back to, Brady was born at 7 months and weighed about 2 pounds and lungs wasn't developed.
Man, I didn't know
So
that.
he got meted back to Birmingham, St. Vincent's, and neonatal unit, stayed 2 weeks. It was 50-50. Doctor prayed with me in the weight room. So I stayed right there 2 weeks in a hospital room right beside him. And Holly was still in the hospital for about 3 or 4 days. And so he's just so well-rounded. I mean, he's got a good heart. He's humble. He's thoughtful. He always goes the extra mile for you. Brady is definitely a helper. Like, he wants to help people. I see that a lot in Brady. Like, he worries about people. A lot of people worry about what they have going on. He really, truly worries about his friends, what's happening, his grandparents, his parents, his sister. And just to see his good heart and his thoughtfulness. And he's just got that dynamic personality. I mean, Brady can do anything he wants to do in this world. Because he can go in any environment and he can get in, be successful. Just his versatility and his personality. But then he has that balance to turn it on and turn it off, in sports. That's what makes me proud with him. And I know I'm rambling, but I know
You good?
people don't realize it. I always asked them, they wanted to play sports. I never pushed them. We had a talk with both of them. Is this what you want to do? Yes. And I never made them like go work extra or stuff. People like you always say, they see things, but they were always asking me, when can you go shoot with me? When can you go work with me? I have a game this Saturday. And that's big on me too, because them realizing, looking down the road and trying to time management and being prepared. But I'm just proud of both of them. I mean, I'm very proud, super proud. And to the point, I didn't even care about coaching. I wanted to work with him and make sure he's ready, because I did with her. And it was the right thing to do as a dad, and be there for him. And then travel and support her. And that's, kind of where we are now.
Absolutely.
But I'm so proud of both of them.
Awesome. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Haley, what do you admire most about your dad?
I don't know. I just think growing up, all the times, I know that he was busy with his teams, coaching. I see it now more than ever. Coaching is a 24-hour job. I mean, you're always worried about something. Your program, your kids, your assistant coaches, and just to have that time, even if it's 30 minutes,
He always made time for
yeah,
us.
30 minutes before his practice or an hour after he's been at the gym for 10 hours of the day, he would always stay and coach me just like he coached the other kids that he, it's like it didn't even matter. And it didn't matter what time of day, what time of night, what time of year, he always made time for us. And I know that was really hard. And just the stuff that I know that it was hard for him to push us sometimes because of the whole coach and dad thing. And I know that there were a lot of people throughout our lives in our family that were like, okay, maybe you shouldn't push him that hard, like, nah. But you know, he was like, well, if that's what they want to do, I'm gonna do it 100%. So he never cared. He never cared what we thought, what anyone else thought. He pushed us how he thought we should be pushed, and that's probably why we are like where we are today.
That's awesome. Love it. Same question to you, Brady.
I think it is Dad. What I admire most about Dad is he's very selfless. He puts others first. He always makes time for his family. I mean, the countless nights that he would have practice and until 8 o'clock at night, and then he'd have to stay there for another hour doing laundry, and then he'd come home and we'd go right back to the gym. He's been at school all day. He's had practice, and like she said, he always made time for us, and he always held us accountable about, you know, what we're doing when he's not around and what we're doing when other people's not around. Basically doing the right thing all the time, and don't matter who's watching, you know. But yeah, for Dad, we wouldn't be here without him, you know. He pushes us, and like she said, you know, some people might think it's too hard, but I mean, we're
here.
Exactly.
Y'all got a good support system around you. Both sides of the family, mom, dad, grandparents.
Wouldn't be here without him.
Absolutely. I really, truly appreciate you guys letting me sit in with you guys.
Yes, sir.
Video, first time we've done a generational video like this, so I think it's very good. I really enjoyed it.
Always an honor.
Thank you guys.
Thank you so much, Brad.